Gilman, Colorado is an abandoned mining town deep within the heart of the Colorado Rocky Mountain. Founded in 1886 during the Colorado silver boom, the town later became the center of zinc and lead mining in Colorado. Centered on the now flooded Eagle Mine, it was abandoned in 1984 by order of the Environmental Protection Agency because of toxic pollutants, including contamination of the groundwater, as well as the unprofitability of the mines. It is currently a ghost town on private property and is strictly off limits to the public. At the time of the abandonment, mining operations were owned by Viacom International. In 2007, the Gin Company had plans to build a private ski resort and private homes across the Gilman town site. However, in 2009, a bunch of setbacks totally nuked their plans, and now Gilman still sits the way it was when it was initially abandoned in 1984. Gilman sits at an elevation of almost 9,000 feet above sea level, placed upon a dramatic cliff 600 feet above the Eagle River on the flank of Battle Mountain. It is located southeast of Minturn, Colorado, and north of the Tennessee Pass along U.S. Highway 24. The remnants of the town site are visible in many places along the curves of the highway. More recent housing, situated on the steep flank of the mountain itself, is near the former mines. The mining district became the richest and most successful in Eagle County. The ore occurs in sulfide replacement deposits of three types. 1. Thin-bedded deposits along the Swatch quartzite. 2. Highly elongated ore bodies in the Leadville limestone. And 3. Vertical pipes or chimneys cutting across various formations. Several mining operations had sprouted along Battle Mountain by 1879, the first year of the Colorado silver boom. The town of Gilman and nearby mining operations were developed in the 1880s by John Clinton, a prospector, judge, and speculator from nearby Red Cliff. In 1887, gold and silver were discovered in two vertical chimneys at the Groundhog Mine, which continued to produce gold and silver ore until the 1920s. In 1880, Clinton acquired a number of mining operations in the vicinity, including the profitable Iron Mask, noted for its numerous caverns with crystal formations. Clinton developed the area as a town and improved the mining operations with higher capitalization. The town, which Clinton developed in order to keep the miners at the site, was initially named for him. He donated the land for its initial schoolhouse and built the first boarding house. The Denver and Rio Grande Railroad reached the mining camp of Belden at the base of the cliff in 1882. By 1899, it had a population of approximately 300 people, as well as a newspaper called the Gilman Enterprise. As they reached the deeper primary sulfide ores, the miners found that the ore contained so much zinc that the smelters simply refused to buy it. A roaster and magnetic separator were installed in 1905 to separate out the zinc minerals. The proprietors of the mines decided to turn this problem into an asset. The mining operations transitioned increasingly to zinc, although the Eagle Mine was still the leading producer of silver in the state until 1930. The New Jersey Zinc Company entered Gilman in 1912 and over a period of years bought all the principal mines and the entire town site of Gilman. Zinc was the economic mainstay until 1931, when low zinc prices forced the company to switch to mining copper-silver ores. Zinc production resumed in 1941 and remained the principal product of the mines until they were closed in the 1980s. The town's population was a few hundred in the 1960s. At one time, the town had an infirmary, which you can see in this video. It is the building that is completely littered with x-rays. It had a grocery store, and it had a bowling alley. The bowling alley now currently has a skateboard ramp that was built by people surrounding the area, which is probably one of the cooler things I've ever found in an abandoned building. Gilman experienced labor strife several times in the 1950s, partially due to the fact that it was all owned by an out-of-state corporate body that had very little knowledge of the day-to-day workings or situation in the town of Gilman. By 1970, total production of the mines was at 10 million tons of ore, 400,000 troy ounces of gold, 66 million troy ounces of silver, 105,000 tons of copper, 148,000 tons of lead, and almost 1 million tons of zinc. After the closure of the mine and the abandonment of the town of Gilman, a 235-acre area, which included 8 million tons of mine waste, was designated a Superfund site by the EPA and placed on the National Priorities List in 1986. If you're unsure what a Superfund site is, it is officially known as the Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation and Liability Act. This was designed to investigate and clean up sites contaminated with hazardous substances. Sites managed under this program are referred to as Superfund sites and are considered the most highly contaminated and undergo longer-term remedial investigation and remedial cleanup actions. Needless to say, Superfund sites are sort of the worst of the worst offenders when it comes to contaminated areas within America. The Gilman town site is now a major victim of vandalization. The town's main street is heavily, quote-unquote, tagged. It's actually just a bunch of dicks with spray paint cans ruining everything. All the windows are broken out. I don't think I noticed one intact window the whole time I was there. And pretty much every other glass object in the town is just wrecked. However, many of the parts of the town are as they were when the mine was shut down. The mineshaft elevators still sit ready for ore cars, but they are permanently locked at the top level, probably so dopes like me don't die in them. Several cars and trucks still sit in the garages, as well as tractors, and several of the trucks that I noticed even still had the New Jersey Zinc Company or whatever logo on the side of it. Because of its size, modernity, and the level of preservation, the town is also the subject of interest for many historians, explorers, and photographers. Hey, that kind of sounds like me, although very amateur. Alright everyone, thank you very much for listening and very much for watching this video. I had a really good time here in Gilman, and I'm going to be uploading just the full walkthrough. I'm going to do very minimal editing, and I spent probably about 4 hours here just doing a complete walkthrough, just trying to document the history of the place, so if there's ever like a forest fire or something like that, there will at least be a video archive of what it looked like as of August 2020. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again for watching, and I will catch you all next time.